Hi guys, Fliteska here. In today's video we are going to be taking our island from last video and we're going to make it into a settlement that we can build at. We are already in the CK with our New World holotape mod open, and what we are going to do is we're going to add some keywords to our location that I'm sure we did create in the previous video, but if we didn't, I don't actually remember. We come down to world data and location. We did create it, and we have um, our location there, but you can just right click and new. So we'll just double click the one that we already made, and as you can see, there's nothing really on here. And what we're going to do is we're going to add in some keywords. So we're going to right click and choose add, not new, because that will create a new keyword. We just want to use an existing one. And in the filter type lock type, and we want to add clearable. Right click, add again. We want workshop settlement, and we want workshop, and we want the final one of settlement, and we should be good for that one. So I'm just going to click OK. And if you don't already have a location set up, you won't have an encounter zone, which is under world data encounter zone. I've already got one here, so I'm going to right click edit, and if you give it a ID, it's generally just good practice to give it the name of the actual location and then just add zone to the end. And what we want in here is we want to choose never resets and workshop, and we want to set the location to the location we had just created. So it's already set to island 02 location. And we press OK. And what we're going to do is for each of the cells that we are in, so we're going to just come across to the cell view, and we're just going to double click on my center. So kind of just like in my island. It kind of goes out of the cell a little bit, so we're going to have to add it to a couple of them. So right click on the cell in the cell view and click edit and choose a location, which will be the location that we created. So new world holotape island location 2. And what you want to do is click apply to each one, and it actually has worked this time. So whatever I did in the last video, I did actually manage to get it to set the location. As you can see, all of these cells already have this location, and that bit is very important. It doesn't need to be every cell, it's kind of just the cells that are going to be in your build area that you want. I set the location on the world space, so if I come into world spaces, you can see that the location is already set there. So that has done it to the whole world space. Obviously, if you're doing a world space that has multiple workshops, you don't want to do it that way. You want to have individual locations, but this is just a quick way if you're just making a world space for a single workshop. Once we have our location set on each of the cells, we want to come up to, I believe it is character and then quest. And we're going to create a new quest. So right click, new. When that pops up, we want to give it an ID. So new world holotape, island 02 quest. And we want to give it a priority of anything above 40 should be fine. So we'll get 41. We want to leave it as start game enabled and run once, and that's all we need in this data tab. We come across to quest stages and we right click new, add two stages. We want 10 and 20. Don't need to do anything with that. Then we come to quest aliases and we're going to add a new ref collection alias. And this takes a second or two to come on. And for the alias name, I don't really think this matters, but it's just um, easy way of remembering. We'll just call it workshops, and we leave it on find matching reference, and we want to set some match conditions. So we come down to the match conditions, right click new, and we want to add location has keyword, and the keyword we want to add is block type workshop settlement, and we want that to be true, so equals 1. We want to add another one which is has keyword, and the keyword we want to add is workshop keyword, and press OK. And one last one which is get in current location, and we set that to our location that we created before, so island 02 location, and press OK. And that is our aliases all done. Pull up a bit so we can see the OK button. Press OK, and we're going to press OK again, and then we're going to right click on our quest, click edit, and we're going to add a script to it. So come across to the scripts tab and choose add, and we want to add workshop add location script. So we're going to click on that and press OK. In the properties window, we only really need to worry about workshop parent. You can autofill it, but I'm pretty sure the only value is none or workshop parent. And the workshops collection is to the alias that we created. So if I click edit value on there, it lets you pick the quest. So we're using this quest, and the alias is workshops, and we press OK. And that is our quest ready to go. And what we're going to do is we're going to add a bunch of references to the cell here, and then we're going to actually lay them out how we actually want them to be. And I figured it would be easier to do it this way rather than jumping around. I'm going to place all the different references in that we actually want, and then I'm going to place them. So the first one that we want to add is workshop workbench, which is under world objects container, and it's workshop workbench. Just drag that in, and I'm going to put that just kind of against this rock. If you've got a mod like move that workbench, doesn't really matter where you put this, but I'm going to chuck it into the lighthouse actually. Just put it in there for now, and we're going to give that a reference ID by double clicking on it, and we're going to call it New World Holotape Workshop Ref Island 02, and we're going to press OK. and we want another one. So we've got our workbench there. We want workshop resource container settlement. So this is just a generic settlement container. It's where all your stuff will be stored. I'm gonna just leave it out here for now, and we're gonna place it out the way so nobody can get to it. It's kind of like in Skyrim, you had the hidden chests like in the walls and stuff. We're just gonna hide that away from people, and we're gonna give this a reference of New World Holotape container island 02. Press OK, and we need to add some X marker headings, and the first one is going to be our spawn point, so where we want to spawn into the like when we fast travel, and we're going to give that a reference of New World Holotape X marker heading and island 02. We're going to add another one, uh, and this one will be the center of our um, workshop. So we're going to call it New World Holotape underscore center island 02. Press OK. And next one, we are going to actually add in where the NPCs can walk around and also where you can build. Um, this is done using a default empty trigger, which is in world objects and activator, as you can see here. I'm going to drop that down. Obviously, that is tiny at the moment, but we will make it bigger and give this a reference ID of sandbox island 02. So this is the one we're going to use for where the NPCs can walk around, and you can use the same default empty trigger for your sandboxing and your build area. Um, it's just a case of just adding the extra keywords, which we're going to do in a bit. But for this, I'm going to add two default empty triggers, and this other one is going to be um, build build area island 02, and once like this would be all we actually need in here, but we want to make it so that if it's not a settlement that's owned by the player by default, um, we want to add what is a it's called a workshop set owned trigger, and basically what it does is um, if the player walks into this box here, if I was to walk into that, I would own the settlement that it's linked to. So we're going to just add a reference to this, and New World Holotape workshop, the workshop set own trigger. Like this is just a naming convention that I've got throughout this mod. Is just kind of they're all the same setup, so I know what each one is actually doing. And press OK. And the last one is it's not needed, but it's just a nice one to have, which is the workshop border. If you come into statics and type in workshop border, you'll see all the different settlements, And I'm going to use Starlight. It's probably way too big for this, but you can resize it. It just gives you like a visual indicator of where you can build. So you can see it's quite a big area. It'll be fine. And what I'm going to do is give that one a reference ID, and we'll call that New World Holotape Workshop Border Island 02. Okay, so once we have all of these in, we need to actually link it all together. And the way we do that is we want the workbench to be connected to these different markers. And I'll show you how to do that now. The first thing we're going to do is we're going to click on our workbench and double click it and come along to scripts, and you can see workshop script is already attached to it. I'm going to click on properties, and there is a lot of properties in here, but we only really care about a few of them, and that is the owned by player. So if you want to have to do something beforehand, just leave it as false. Or if you want just kind of like how Red Rocket and Sanctuary Hills works, it's already owned by the player. And the enable automatic player ownership is just the same. Like once the area is cleared, it like so if you put like enemies and stuff in there, you would own it. You can leave that as it is. And the only other ones that you really need to worry about is min recruitment prohibit random. So if you don't want this workshop to be included in the Minutemen's Radiant quest, leave it as false. And also, like after you've owned it, like so once you own it, you don't want the Radiant quests to come up. Make sure you set that to false as well. Um, allow attacks if you want it to be attacked, like when you've got it, just tick the box. If not, just untick it. Um, allow attacks before it's owned. Like I think that's kind of like where part of the Radiant quests where it'd be like some settlement needs your help. So we're just gonna say no, I don't want any attacks whatsoever. And if we come up here, all right, if you are building in a interior cell, like having Brahmin in like close quarters is really annoying. So allow Brahmin recruitment is default by true, but my island is not allowing Brahmin in. So the radio beacon won't let you get any Brahmin if you set that to false. And that's pretty much it. Like you don't really need to touch these other ones. The custom unknown messages, if you want to have to do a quest or like have a certain perk or whatever, you can set like a message to like um, it's kind of like the getting max affinity with a companion. So if you wanted, like, you've got to be best friends with Hancock to use it. You could have this message to say like be Hancock's friend, and it would when you click on the workbench, it would bring up that message in the top left. But other than that, this is all set up. Press OK. Alright, and now we want to go across to linked ref on our workbench still. I'm going to zoom out a bit on the render window, and we're going to add a few keywords to other like these other markers. And what we want to add is, so we right click new, and we're going to select reference in render window, and I think that this is my center one. So double clicking on my center um, X marker, it gives me that reference, and the keyword that we want to link it with is workshop link center. Press OK, and you'll see keyword workshop link center, and it's referenced to that marker. And we want to add another one, which right click new, select reference in render window. We want to get the other X marker, which is going to be our spawn point. So for the keyword, we want workshop link spawn. And finally, add another one, and we want this chest. So container, and this will be workshop link container. And we are good for our workbench now. And you can see that there's these blue lines shooting off from the different markers, and that just shows that it's linked to another object. All right, so what we want to do next is our default empty triggers. Which one's this one? This is sandbox. So on linked ref, we're going to right click new and select reference in render window. We want to link it to our workbench. So double click on the workbench to make sure that the ref's picked up correctly, because when you've got a lot of stuff you might end up picking the wrong one, and if that happens you can see everything that's actually in the cell. So just make sure it's linked to the workbench, and the keyword for this one is workshop link sandbox. Press OK, and this will make it so NPCs will walk around your area or in this little box at the moment, because we need to resize that. But we'll do that once everything's all set up. And click on the other box, which is our build area. So in linked ref, right click new, select reference in render window, double click our workbench, and the keyword for this is workshop linked primitive. Press OK, and that will just be the area that you can actually build in. Way too small, I know, but we're getting there. And what we want to do next is we're going to do the set own trigger. Right, so for the set own trigger, we're gonna link that to our workbench. So right click in new, select reference in render window, double click on the workbench, and we don't need a keyword for this, so we can leave that as none. Press OK, and you can see that it's just linked to that. And for this one, I am going to move it into place. So I just generally like to put this around the workbench. So, because that is a terrible place to put a workbench. It's half in the wall. I'm just going to move that back into there. That'll be a bit better. So, cover the workbench, but then double click it and come to primitive and just make this bigger. So in primitive, on bounds, just up the size of this, because it's really small. and I'm just going to make it 512, and you can see that that box is now fairly huge. So pretty much if you walk into the lighthouse, you're going to be able to use the workbench. I'm just going to put that workbench on the floor. Okay, and what we need to do is, before I forget, on our center marker, we want to come across to location ref type, and in here, right click new, and we want to just mark it as a center marker. So location center marker. You can add an edge marker as well. So if I wanted to, well, I'm going to add it in. X marker heading. But you can add another marker, and if I just put, I'm just going to move this one kind of out the way. Come on. All right, we're going to put it there, and we're going to add it. We're going to call it New World Holotape Edge Island 02. So this is going to be an edge marker. Right click in location ref type and choose edge marker. And we will need to zoom right into the workbench now, because I can't actually can't click on that workbench because of the trigger. Just double click on that, zoom out again, just so I can get back to my marker that's all the way over here. And if I come across to linked ref, right click, new, select reference in render window, double click on the edge marker. Pretty sure this doesn't have a like a keyword. I just can't actually remember. You don't need these, but they have some purpose. I just have no idea. I don't actually think it needs a keyword, so we'll just go with none and pray that it works. Right. So now that we have most of our bits set up, we want to click on the border, double click it, and we're going to linked ref, new. I'm gonna have to zoom in just so I can get back to that workbench again. This is why I said not to resize those empty boxes, because it makes it annoying for clicking on stuff. So select the workbench, and we want a keyword of workshop linked build area edge, and press OK. So now that border is linked to the workbench. We're pretty much there now. Like, you could jump into game and this would magically work, but we're gonna kind of move everything into place. What I like to do is, with the chest, go to the workbench, put it there, hold Z, and bring it right down, and you can see it's somewhere. It's probably hidden in that rock. Oh, there it is. It's just hidden away under the ground. Doesn't make a difference where it is, to be fair. And what we're going to do is, this is our spawn point. Right. I don't want to land in the like in the lighthouse, so I'm going to bring the spawn point over here. These can be placed anywhere you want, really. Press F to bring it down. So you kind of like almost in the water. The center, just drag that. I just kind of put it like at the quadrant intersection there. Just kind of drop it in. We're near enough center. And right, these ones are a bit trickier. So we've got the sandbox. If we come across to primitive and in the bounds, we want to make this bigger. So where can the NPCs walk around? Obviously, if you don't nav mesh your build, they won't walk around. But this just means that if an item that you've got, say up here, like just hovering in the sky, if they can get up there, they will actually use it. If it's out of the box, they won't. So in bounds, you just want to kind of make this bigger. So I know for Starlight, that like 8,000 by 6,000 by 4,000 is big enough to fit that whole border in. And as you can see, it's not the right way. Um, this bit's like quite awkward, which is again why I left it till the end. And just using the right mouse button to rotate it, it's very awkward. Just wanting it to kind of like sit on top of the border. So even though the border's there, you could theoretically build outside and they would still be quite happy to do so. But if you can kind of get it how you want it, you should be okay. So that's quite a bit under the water still. Not under the water, under the land. Right, that's better. And you can get the lighthouse in, so you can build stuff up there, and that will do just nicely. And like I said, like you could just use this single box and come to linked ref, right click new, and choose your workbench and set workshop linked primitive to this one and just use the single one, but you don't have to. Like you can use multiple ones of these, so there can be like you can have like 4 or 5 boxes that make up your area. Like if you look at existing ones, some of them are made up of multiple, and it's just a case of adding that keyword and it'll let you build in those places. So on the build area, um, default empty trigger, we're going to click on bound primitive and then bounds, same numbers again, 8,000, 6,000, 4,000, and zoom out to see it. And I'm just kind of gonna, oh god, that's a little awkward to see, but there we go. Oh god. Alright. I'm upside down, that's why. Just like I said, this doesn't have to be perfect, but it is easier using one. I thought I'd just show you having them two separate. So like they're kind of in the right place, but we should be able to build all within the border that it shows, and that is pretty much it. Our island is now ready to be a settlement, and what you can do if you really want to is like put in like existing items. So like your like if you wanted a water pump or a generator like already in the area, like you can add that in. I'll just show you how to do that now. So I'm gonna find a purifier, purifier, I don't even know what it's under. Is it there we go. So we've got a large water purifier. Right, gonna just drop that off the edge of my island. Sink it into the water a bit. Just kind of make sure it's in the water. There we go. And what we want to do is double click on it and go to linked reference. Right click, new. Again, we're gonna it's gonna be really awkward getting in now. Right, zoom into our workbench, select reference in render window, double click on the workbench, and the keyword that we want to do on this one is workshop. That's it. Item workshop item keyword, and that means that like the water that is provided by that will be included in the settlement, and like this the same way you can do is it workshop chem lab, which is I might just have to type in chem workbench chemistry. So if I put this in, oh, we froze a second there. We are, oh god, that's right. Come on, drop down. So if I've added the workbench there, linked ref, add new, and just get it back into here, select reference, double click the workbench, workshop item keyword, and it just means that that workbench will use anything that is stored in uh, in the settlements workbench, and we should be good to go. So I'm gonna save the mod. Just realized out of all of this I didn't save once, so luckily nothing broke. I'm gonna jump in game now, and we are gonna find our island, and we'll see that everything should all be working as we hoped it would. We are in game, and I'm gonna just teleport myself into our world space. So I believe I named the cell New World Holotape Island O2 Center. And if you haven't done that, just give it a name and you'll be all right. There we go. Oh, I've made a slight mistake because you can see the workshop border now when you shouldn't actually see it. Well, it shouldn't be too bad. Alright, so there's our chemistry workbench. Come on, get out. And I'm gonna jump up on here, and we have our workbench. I must have done something wrong as well with the generator because I forgot to give it power. Oh, that was stupid. I forgot about that. But there we go. We can build whatever we want in here, and I will see what I missed with the border because normally it shouldn't be. Oh, there we go. The border is gone. I have no idea why it didn't disappear, but there we go. And there we have it, guys. You have your own island with some workbenches. You got your water purifier, remember, turn the power on and you'll be alright. And that is it for this video, guys. Thanks for watching, and I will catch you in the next one. Cheers, bye.